Recording. Perfect. So, a non founder thinks it's all about the idea. The first time founder thinks it's all about the product and the execution. A second time founder knows it's all about the distribution. I'm Karthik Mahadevan. I'm the co founder and CEO of Envision, where we build AI powered tools to help people who are blind or have a low vision to independently access the world around them. And in the 5 odd year a journey I've had of building this company, I've had some insights and a learning along the way, and that's what I would love to share with you in this video. So when you're not a founder, or when you haven't been inside of a startup that's building something new, there's often a notion or an illusion that it's all about the idea, right? It's all about this spark or like a eureka kind of a moment that you need to be able to come up with this brilliant idea, and that's actually the differentiator between anyone and a successful founder, is this stroke of a brilliant idea. And this is a myth that's perpetuated by like media, where people start to believe that something like like a Facebook is existing because a Zuckerberg had this stroke of idea of building it, or or something like Windows exists because Bill Gates had this amazing idea of like to build this operating system. And this whole emphasis on idea is really so oversold. But once you start actually building a company with an idea, very quickly you come to a realization that ideas are actually not worth that much. It's all about how do you go about executing this idea. It's about how do you build the product. It's about the details of the product. That's actually the thing that's hard, and that's actually the thing that's differentiating anybody from a successful entrepreneur, is whether you're able to execute your idea and build a product in a way that's actually great. So you become obsessed with this idea of building the product well. You want to do the details right. You want to execute this thing well, and that's really what you sort of start obsessing over. And you do see examples of this everywhere. Like start seeing examples of this everywhere. You start to like realize that Apple is Apple, not because it had this brilliant idea of an iPhone, but it was able to build and execute the product in a way with all the details there. That's the differentiator because of which they are so successful. But because you get so obsessed with building your product, and doing the execution of that, you actually come to a realization soon after, that it's not about the product and the execution, it's actually about the distribution. Because when you're obsessing over the product, you sort of optimistically you start to believe that, hey, if I build the best product out there, everybody will want it and everybody will come to me to ask for it. But that's often not the reality. You have to really painstakingly figure out the distribution. You have to ensure that everybody out there who has a need or a need for your product actually can get access to it instantly, immediately. And that's when you start to see examples of that. You start to understand that the reason Tim Cook is the CEO of Apple and not someone like Johnny Ive, like who built the products, is because Tim Cook is the person who figured out the distribution. He figured out anybody in the world who wants an iPhone can actually have an iPhone in their hands within a week. And that's actually the differentiator. That's actually what makes or breaks a successful founder, is you have figured out a way not just to turn your idea into a product, but have also been able to figure out that this product is actually distributed amongst the people who need it in the best way possible. A very good example of this would be Slack and like Teams. I think everybody agrees that hands down your Slack is a product that's superior to Teams. It's much better executed. The details are amazing. So on a product comparison, Slack is the better a product. But you've also all probably seen this graph. right? And the differentiator here is that Teams has the distribution, because everybody has already like the like Microsoft Office. They have the distribution, and because of purely having the distribution figured out, your Microsoft Teams is able to beat out your Slack in terms of having a lot more users, um, because they actually got the distribution nailed down. So that's really something that's what I have come to realize 5 years in now. And the reason I'm talking about this on a video is because Envision is currently at a very interesting juncture in time. There has been a lot of developments just in the past few months that has happened in the world of AI and wearable technologies, and Envision is been in both of these industries for the past few years. There's a lot of perspective and skills that we've built in both of these industries. And now we have the amazing opportunity to use those learnings and those skills to actually expand the opportunity space that we actually have in front of us. It's not a pivot, it's more of an evolution that we're undergoing. And I'm very, very excited about this new phase of Envision that's actually going to start coming in. But this time, I want to do this by building in public. I want to bring you along on this journey of how we are able to go from what is an idea at the moment into a product that gets executed, and eventually about how we figure out the distribution, the differentiating factor of this whole thing together. So from at this point on, every week we intend to put out a video that sort of brings you along on this a journey, and we will share our ups and downs and all the progress along the way. So the video that will come out next week will actually be the video in which we explain this idea to you, explain the concept to you, and also give you an idea of exactly how we intend to execute it. So if that is something you are interested in, follow along on all of these different social tech handles, whichever you're like most comfortable with. And yeah, hopefully along the way we figure out what's the right way to go from idea to product to distribution. I'll see you next week. Until then, take care of yourself.